Hello everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randy Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
Welcome everybody to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle, where we are reading for change. We are all in a good mood and happy tonight because we are closing the book on Harriet A. Washington's Medical Apartheid, The Dark History. She ain't never lied. The dark history.
Yes.
Of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to the present. We actually finished reading last week. You are invited to join our community on Google Plus, or follow our Facebook page, or look up the hundreds of videos that are archived on YouTube under the name the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. And my name is Michelle Odom. I'm one of the co-hosts of the group, along with Randy Henderson, who will join us shortly. And I'm located in Brooklyn, New York.
I'm Thaddeus John Bell, and I'm a practicing physician in Charleston, South Carolina. And one of my passions is dealing with health disparities that affect African Americans and the underserved.
I'm Joel JJ, hailing you from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm glad to be here amongst all the women and one other man.
Let's stay in the South, Georgette.
Okay, my name is Georgette Moses, and I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm happy to see everyone here, and I'm ready to decompress.
All right. And the extreme north, Vanita.
Good evening. My name is Vanita Walker, and I'm joining you from Cromwell, Connecticut, which is the extreme north of Connecticut, right before you hit Massachusetts. Welcome.
And finally, Kim.
Hi everybody, I'm Kim Brandon, and I'm also in New York City, and looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Randy. I'm watching from Atlanta, and I'm happy to see everyone.
Dr. Bell, can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
With the cost of medications, and I have watched, I have noticed the medication I take went from $19.99 10 months ago to $236 a month for the same prescription. Now, I don't know about a lot of folks, and I've heard it from many folks, that their medications have gone up so high they can't afford to buy the medication. And in my case, I need it to live. So what are your patients doing when the pharmaceuticals, because now, as I said, I find that the insurance company, of course, wants you to take the generics, which I've always taken them anyway. But now the pharmaceutical companies are now treating generics like their brand names because of supply and demand. I watch my medication go from $19.99 to $236 a month in 10 months. So a lot of times folks aren't taking their medication because they can't buy their.
That's a very I see that all the time. Keep in mind now, doctors don't have any control over what pharmaceutical companies do with the cost of the medication.
So that I understand.
Yeah. All right. But here are some things that you can ask about. You can ask your doctor, is he aware of any help that the pharmaceutical company can give you regarding the medication? We do that for a lot of our patients. A lot of companies have programs. If you don't make a certain amount of, now you gotta fill out some papers, and you gotta document that you make that your income is X, Y, and Z, and that information can be sent to the pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical company will oftentimes give you those medications free of charge. What we do in our practice is that I try not to let patients get to that point. If they run out of money, I tell them to come to the office and we'll give them samples of the medicine to kind of tide them over. Okay, but here again, that's why when you get insurance, you should ask the insurance company to let you see the name of the medications that they're going to be responsible for, and then you take that list to the doctor and ask the doctor, out of these medicines, which one is he going to be able to give you to keep your blood pressure or your sugar under control that you're going to be able to afford. That's a visit within itself. That's a visit within itself.
Well, what I was alluding to is the problem is that people are insured. They're paying huge premiums. They have huge deductibles. That's a lot of the problem. Not that they're not insured. They are insured. But when you have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 deductibles, and your medications go from $20 to $236, which means that you have to pay for that up front. You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand.
I just feel like a lot of people may not, and mine is like not a heart pill. You know, may not be taking them because they can't afford to.
Right. Are you familiar with the term the donut hole?
No, explain that, please.
Have any of you all heard of the donut hole?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've heard
insurance.
Okay. Yeah. Let me explain to you what the donut hole is, because it's a very common phenomenon. All right, you know that the federal government will give you let's just say that the federal government is going to give you $5,000 a year for your medications. And let's just say that you are on brand name drugs. All right, so before the year is up, you have already used up the $5,000 because you have been on the brand name drugs. You are now in what is called the donut hole. In other words, you're going to have to subsidize the cost of that medication. Now, there are several ways of staying out of the donut hole. You can not take the medicine, or you can decide that you want to be on a generic drug.
That is generic that I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's cheaper. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then, of course, if you get on, if you end up getting in the donut hole, what I usually do with my patients is when they get in the donut hole, they come in and, as Jazzy will tell you, I see drug reps every day. And you know why I see drug reps every day? I don't like drug reps, but drug reps give me samples. And you know who I give the samples to? I give the samples to my patient. because you can't sell samples. You have to give them away. So I sacrifice a little bit of time so that I can get samples of the drugs, so that when patients get in the donut hole or they run out of money or whatever. You know, now here, you're not going to believe this. As much as I tell people that, do you realize that I still have black folk who will not come into my office and ask for the medication, and I'm giving it away?
Well, I think that's one of the questions we need to know we can ask, you know. Are there samples?
Yeah, I have a lady who comes in who can afford the medication. She always asks me. She walks out of my office with a little doggy bag of samples every time she come in. The other thing that I want to make you aware of now is that doctors don't have no control over the cost of the medication. You know, sometimes what I have to tell patients is that if medicine goes up too high, it may be worth your while calling your insurance carrier and raising hell with them. That's what you oftentimes have to do. You have to call the insurance company and raise pain with them, because I can write for the prescription up the wazoo, but you get to the pharmacy and the pharmacist say, well, the pharmacy doesn't say, well, your doctor is not going to pay for this. It says your insurance is not going to pay for this. So I understand your frustration. One of the things, and I hope I'll get a little laughter about this. There ain't very many things good about turning 65 except Medicare. Because when you get Medicare, a lot of these financial issues when it comes to insurance go away. Do I have anybody 65 older out there can agree with that?
If you live to 65 at the rate some of us are going.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet.
Well, that's one of the you know, it was really kind of interesting, because when I turned 66, I got very ill. And I went to the hospital, and I left the hospital with a bill of $250,000.
Oh my God!
So I asked the lady. I said, "Well," she said, "Well, don't worry about it. Medicare is going to pick it up." Medicare picked up the whole thing.
Wow!
So all that money that you're paying toward Medicare, hope that you're going to live to get to be 65, so you can collect on it.
Dr. Bell, if you have a chronic debilitating disease in 2015, you probably will not, at the rate insurance companies are going, live to be 65 to get Medicare, because it's a daily struggle to deal with chronic debilitating illnesses, financially and otherwise.
I think you're absolutely correct about that. But here's one thing that I want to make you aware of. Most of the medical issues that African Americans deal with come from lifestyle. 40% of them happen. 40% of them happen that we have no control over. But 60% of them occur because we smoke too much, we drink too much, we don't exercise, we overweight, and etc.
Hey! Stop talking about me.
I see a young lady in the audience, and in fact, Jazz and I have been talking about this, because in our Closing the Gap, we are going to start talking more directly to young people, letting them know that, look, just because you're young, if you start doing these crazy things, by the time you get 50, you're gonna pay the price for it. Okay, and so if you cannot smoke, if you can get plenty of rest, if you can keep your weight under control, if you cannot use drugs, if you can exercise on a regular basis, when you hit 50, there's a likelihood that you won't have these chronic medical illnesses that have plagued a lot of our people. But you see, a lot of us didn't have the benefit of that information when we were in our youth. So one of the things that I'm trying to tell young people now, that what you do in your early life will show up in your later life. So that's why you really need to take care of yourself.
Mhm.